Sponsorem programu jest Tauron, sprzedawca instalacji fotowoltaicznych.
Good evening and welcome to Chorzów Stadium Śląski, a beautiful place for sure, ahead of the fourth and final round of TAURON Speedway European Championship Series in 2024. It's going to be a night to remember, that's for sure, regardless of who wins tonight. I'm Marcin Mutual, and I'm joined by David Rowe and Samer Molenko. Gentlemen, how do you like Śląski Stadium so far?
It's an impressive place, there's no doubt about it, and it's kind of right in the city. It feels like the city anyway, with all the buildings around it, and yeah, it's really nice, and they've been working very hard on it, but so far so good.
I'm sure, David, you have plenty of memories here from the previous two rounds, as we're hearing, I think, the rehearsal of Polish Anthem.
Indeed, yes, our third time here. We were here in 2018, 2019. The 2019 final was very dramatic and exciting, and then of course we couldn't come back with the pandemic and everything, so it's great to be back in Chorzów, a big stadium, a big event to finish off the series.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because the atmosphere, like you mentioned, the city and everything around it has been, for the past year, I think, that everyone was so supportive, including people here from the stadium, and then the marshal's office at the Silesian Voivodeship. People wanted Speedway to come back to Śląski because there's a great history to it of Speedway in Chorzów.
Yeah, I mean, I was here way back in 1986, you know, in the early days of my race in one of the World Championships. But yeah, anytime you got a grand stadium and you got Speedway fans and you can pull them in here, it's a great atmosphere when you got a big event like this.
David, your favorite memory of Śląski? I don't think you were here in 1986.
No,
but What about 2002? That was a Speedway Grand Prix round.
We've had Grand Prix here a couple of times here, so it has really transcended the eras. We've had World Championships, we've had Grand Prix in the early years of Grand Prix, and then of course a long time when this stadium didn't stage Speedway, and it's such a fantastic venue. It is great to see the sport here. I think my memory, as I've mentioned, is 2019, because it was such a fantastic finish to the series, and who knows, we could get more drama here tonight.
Mikkel Mikkelsen won it that night and won the series in an extra heat, and then Kasper Verina lost almost everything. He was 5 points behind before Chorzów. He was really close to coming 30 in the series, but then due to mechanical failure, he lost it all in the last heat of the night. Such a sad story for Kasper Verina, isn't it?
You know, it's that's Speedway, isn't it? You know, the guys come here. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns here this evening, and I'm sure that all the riders will be anticipating what they think might happen tonight. And when you get a mechanical failure, that's just out of your control sometimes.
I remember that night we had 2 runoffs. We had the runoff for 3rd place and the runoff for the victory. When you look at the way the scores are, especially in that battle for 5th place and qualification for next year, we could see runoffs tonight. It's very, very close.
So let's talk track specifics. It's 370 meters long. I know that there's Warsaw, Narodowy Stadium for the SGP. There's Cardiff, and they are about 270 meters long. Mostly due to the fact that they were designed with rugby or football in mind, but here it's a much bigger stadium when it comes to the area that Speedway riders and actually builders of the track can use. So that's going to be different than what we see on other temporary tracks.
You know, it's I've heard before they got here the challenges that the organizers had to actually bring the dirt in, get it here, and then start preparing it. They've had a little bit of rain, which kind of put them on the back foot a little bit thinking about it. But, you know, after watching the riders ride around in practice and training, it looked really good, and it looked stable, and it looks so good now. The warm weather we've had today and yesterday, I think, has helped it a lot. And I think the unknown about not knowing a temporary track, anything can be thrown up to the riders, but they seem really comfortable. After I interviewed a few of the riders, I walked the track with most of them, and it seems to be okay. And I think this evening is going to throw up some more surprises as well.
It took 12 days to turn this stadium into a Speedway venue, which is, I think, amazing. It's almost 5,000 tons of material here thrown on the track.
Very different to a venue like Cardiff, which can be completely indoors with the roof closed. Here you have an open roof, but you also have parts of the track that are receiving lots of sunshine, other parts that are in the shade all day. So getting that consistency in the track is a challenge, especially with the rain they've had in Poland over the last week or so.
Some mentioned that the track looks good tonight, but let's be honest, David, 2018 and 2019 were not perfect rounds here in Chorzów. We can talk about it.
I think 2018 was the track was consistent. It perhaps didn't lend itself to a great deal of overtaking, and that night Leon Madsen absolutely dominated the meeting, and that was the last time anyone scored an 18-point maximum was here in 2018 with Leon Madsen. 2019 I think was more dramatic because of the situation in the championship with that close battle for the title and with Mikkelsen reeling in Laguta. So hopefully I think today it's a 3rd go at it, lots of work as you say, and hopefully we'll see some good racing and a good scrap for the title.
Sam, how do riders prepare for a single event track? Because should they expect anything, expect the unexpected?
I think they don't know. They bring everything they can get. You know, they think about, do they need a strong motor? Do they need a soft motor? What kind of motor do they think they need? So they kind of have a really good guess, and then they go out there. Until they do the training, they don't know. And I think today the training, from listening to some of the feedback, I think they got it right. Majority of the riders got it right. And I think you got to bring everything you own, I think, and have a go.
But you can only have 3 bikes here.
And the other thing is a limited time on the track, isn't it? So they only get so much time to test their bikes. They're professionals. They got to feel what they feel. And I'm sure there's going to be some riders that are going to go out in their first race and they would have got it wrong. They probably got the wrong bike, and then they have to swap a bike and it's good. And sometimes there's incidents where they wreck a bike, then they got to get on their B bike, and the B bike's better than the first one. So we just never know. So as a rider, you kind of throw everything in there and hope for the best.
Let's talk about a person in the lead, Andrzej Lebedevs, with 6 points ahead of Leon Madsen and Kasper Verina. Is it a lot, David? What do you think?
It's a good lead, very good lead, and Lebedevs has been the best rider in the series so far. He's won 2 rounds, and what really impressed me was what he did in the final in the last round in Chorzów, where he went and passed Leon Madsen. He could have sat behind Leon Madsen. That would have been a 4-point lead. Instead, he went and passed him. That makes it 6, and that does give him a decent advantage. Not by any means a definite that he'll win it. He's still going to go and perform tonight, but his form is very good. You watch what he's doing in the Grand Prix in the last couple of weeks, been very strong. He looks like he's on form, and he is favourite. not necessarily to win tonight's meeting, but favourite certainly to score enough points to make it through. The others have got the work to do to chase him.
Anze Lebedev, who obviously won 2017 Speedway Euro Championship Series, but he won for the very first time a single round in Debrecen. I would agree that Gistrov was very important for Latvian, but it was Debrecen where he gained the advantage over.
Yeah, and I think that just proves that he really wants it to back up and get 2 wins in the same year. Proves that, you know, he wants it, and he had to do, when he was at Güstrow, he had to come from behind to do it, didn't he? So, you know, that just goes to show he's hungry for it. So I don't think he's going to make any mistakes. I think, as David says, it's his to lose and the other guys to earn it.
Yeah, I think he only scored 9 or 10 points in Grudgens during round 2. Would that be enough today if the history from Grudgens repeats?
Well, I think over and over, it's a brand new day for the riders, and as long as they can perform and the track helps them and there's no engine failures or no incidents where they lose a race because of something, they have a good chance of keeping that lead, and that's all you need.
I think he'll know he has to score 13 points. That will be definitely enough. But I think, as you say, if he scores 9 or 10, it's very, very difficult for others to score 15, 16 to overtake him. So take it race by race, look at it after every set of 4 heats, see where he is. But that 6-point lead is something that, yeah, he can defend, and I think he will.
What does history tell us, David? What about former European champions? How many points did they have in the 4-round series?
Well, the big story was back in 2016 at Rybnik when Nicky Pedersen, having been overtaken himself by Martin Vashlik previously, did it, and he was actually in 9th place going into the meeting. It was an absolutely wild night in Rybnik, and it all went down to the heat 20 of that meeting. Anyone could have been champion of the final and so on. So that was an incredible meeting, and that's the biggest turnaround so far. So it would be a surprise, I think, if somebody else did it, but they're all capable. We've seen Leon Madsen score a maximum here before. We know that Verena will have the support of the crowd, and he's done well here, made the final both times in 18 and 19. Pavlitsky, who knows? They're there if Lebedev makes a mistake, but he is favourite.
Let's talk about a challenger. So Leon Madsen, Kasper Verena, and maybe a few other names. So like you said, Leon Madsen managed to score 18 points here in 2018. Would you think that would be enough to chase Lebedev and maybe get the extra heat?
He's got to bank on that, you know, Marcin. He's got to go out there and think he can do that. And I think the track, the way it was riding, might help him. It looks smooth. That unknown about the uncertainty about is the track going to hold up? We're going to have to see if it can go the whole distance, but he looks fast. He was the first one on the track, by the way, in the training, and he just went out there and pinned it and went out there and go. So if he can get 18 points, that's the best he can do, isn't it? So then it's up to everybody else what points they lose. But if I was in his shoes, that's what I'd be thinking.
But of course, the last time he raced was that big crash in the Grand Prix with Jack Holder. He then raced a couple of heats after that in the meeting, but was clearly not right. Pulled out of the Danish Grand Prix, so he's clearly making a priority about this event. And he's talked in the media about being ready for it, so we'll see with Madsen.
And he is very determined. I remember his first round in Debrecen. Due to his personal life, there was a lot of going on. He said that he was lost, he couldn't focus. But now you can see in his eyes that he's determined to win the 3rd European Championship.
He's so close, and he's lost one of his big competitors with Mikkelsen out. So that's got to feel a little bit more comfortable about it.
All right, we talked about Anze Lebedev. He's sitting on 39 points before Chorzów. Let's watch a short clip about the Latvian.
Anze Lebedev goes into the final round of the TAURON Speedway Euro Championship with a 6-point lead, and after his win in Güstrow last time out, he's the favourite to take his 2nd title. The Latvian's first victory came back in 2017. He didn't win a round that season, but he finished on the podium in all 4. He led Václav Minik by 4 points going into the decider in Lublin, and the title was clinched in Heat 20 when he overtook Kenneth Bjerre. However, in 2018, Lebedev fell down the standings. His season didn't go to plan, and when he rode here in Chorzów, he was involved in a big crash in Heat 1 when Kai Hülkenberg tangled with Andreas Jonsson, and Lebedev had no chance to avoid them. He finished 13th in the series, which meant he missed out in 2019, but he was back full-time in 2021, and after finishing 11th in the next 2 seasons, there was a big breakthrough last year in Güstrow when he finished 3rd, and that helped him to 5th place overall and an automatic place for 2024. And this season saw Lebedev make a brilliant start with 17 points in Debrecen, passing Maciejowski to win the final. He then scored 7 in Grudziądz, and his victory in Güstrow, where he got the better of Leon Madsen in a brilliant deciding race, means he's the man they're all chasing tonight. Will round 4 in Chorzów see Lebedev's crowned champion for the 2nd time in his career?
Andrzej Lebedev 6 points clear of Leon Madsen and Kacper Boryna. David, you said it already, but there is some sort of a home crowd here in Chorzów. It's pretty close to Rybnik, where Kacper Boryna comes from. But does it help, or could it be a little bit of extra pressure on Boryna tonight? Sam, what do you think?
For me, if the crowd's cheering for you and you feel it, it's going to boost you up, I think, and you want to perform well anyway. So I just think it's going to mean he's going to have to be really perfect, if he can be, and just do the best he can. And I think that right there would be enough for him to do better.
What about 2019? Do you feel he remembers, or do you think that he must have forgotten before?
Yeah, that's it. That's just, you know, racers don't think about the past. They think about what's in front of them. And I think today it's, I think after they've had the training on the track earlier, I think it's ready. They're all ready right now. They'll forget about what's going on. He'll hope that he gets the support. He'll want that support. And if he hears the big cheers and he's winning races, it'll just be even better.
I think we are ready to see Kacper Boryna race here from 2019. His first time here in Chorzów was 2018. He was a wildcard rider here in Chorzów. The next year he was obviously competing for the medal. David, does he deserve a medal, considering the entire season and the round in Grudziądz especially?
Yeah, on form, he's in that close top 4 battle. His form here has been excellent in those 2 previous meetings when he finished 3rd and 4th, and he's put himself up amongst the contenders. So yes, of the 3 rounds we've seen so far, I mean, again, we're waiting for him to win a round, but he has been consistent. 2nd place in Grudziądz was a really impressive performance. So if he gets the points to finish in the top 3, I'm sure he's chasing 1st place, because the chance of a Grand Prix for next year is there for all of them too. He could do it, but I'm sure he'll come here with confidence, and if he finishes top 3, he will definitely deserve it, yes.
Interesting. We're watching Maciej Janowski in his
race in
battle with yeah, that was Debrecen with Andrzej Lebedev. That's when the Latvian scored 17 out of 18 points. And now we're watching that extra hit with Leon Madsen. That was a bronze medal for Leon Madsen in 2019. I'm sure you remember the noise that this stadium made when it happened.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it looked like it was all going so well for him. Madsen had missed a round earlier in the season with injury, so wasn't quite at his best, and it was going well, and Boryna had it. And unfortunately, I mean, when you have a moment that goes against you like this, you do remember it for a while. I don't think he'll come back here. You just watch here, a problem beginning to develop there, I think, and he's looking over his shoulder. He knows he's vulnerable, and Madsen's about to make his move.
Yeah, Madsen just did what he normally does. He just gives it all the time he can, gets his wheels and lines, and starts working the bike, and then it comes good. And that's been his kind of signature. He just patiently waits. He's turned the bike back now, gets his wheels in line, and the bike just drives him in front. So very difficult to swallow when you were in front of your home crowd, but if you want to say that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's what racing's about.
That was a nerve-wracking experience for Kacper Boryna, for sure. Speaking of our favorites to win the final and win the series here tonight in Chorzów, there's one more extra thing that we're adding tonight here in Chorzów, and it's related to Jerzy Szczakiel. Do you remember Jerzy Szczakiel, the first Polish world champion?
That's it, 1973.
1973, that's when he won it. Nobody expected it from him before the meeting here in Chorzów. Obviously, sadly, he passed away a few years ago. But that's why the organizers of Speedway TAURON SEC decided to honor the winner of tonight's round in Chorzów with Jerzy Szczakiel trophy.
Tonight's final heat will pay tribute to a very special moment in Polish Speedway history, which happened right here in the iconic Silesian Stadium. It was 51 years ago, back in 1973, that Jerzy Szczakiel pulled off one of the biggest shocks ever seen in the sport when he became world champion in front of a crowd reported to be well over 100,000. It was a hugely dramatic meeting which ended with both Szczakiel and Ivan Major on 13 points. So it was Szczakiel and Major in the run-off, with the New Zealand legend already having won 4 world titles, but this was not the night for number 5, as Szczakiel took the lead, and when Major tried to pass him on turns 3 and 4, it was the defending champion who crashed, and with the crowd roaring him on, Szczakiel completed the race to become Poland's first ever world champion. After that success, Poland had to wait another 37 years before Tomasz Golob took the title in 2010, and of course since then Bartosz Marzyk has become a 4-time world champion, but it was Szczakiel who set things going, and tonight's final heat will be named after him, and a world final here in Chorzów that will never be forgotten.
Yes, Verstappen, the patron of tonight's final. See, while watching the clip, I remembered something. Obviously, when we arrive at big venues that are normally not used for Speedway, there's obviously going to be some sort of a debate whether we need it or there are better venues somewhere else. But I think that great sports history is written at great venues. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you've got a special event of that in the past, you know, it's going to be a long time before people forget it. It's in the record books already there, and it's good to look back to be able to say that this is where it kind of started for Poland when it comes to individual championships. So, and Poland right now is pretty much leading the sport when it comes to organizing and having some really big events. So why not have it at a big stadium like this when there's a history like that?
Absolutely, and Poland has never won. Like you said, it's leading in the World Championship with Bartosz Zmarzlik, obviously, but has never won the European Championship since 2012, since it's a series. So obviously there's a huge pressure on Polish riders here in Chorzów tonight, including Piotr Pawlicki, Maciej Janowski, Patryk Dudek, that's 4th, 5th, and 6th place, with Rasmus Jensen at 25, and Mikkel Mikkelsen obviously not competing tonight. What I'm getting at is the top 5. Obviously, the first 5 riders of the series are going to qualify for the next year of TAURON Speedway Euro Championship. It's going to be a tight battle then, David.
I think that's a really close one to call. Janowski has got 27 points, as you say. Mikkel Mikkelsen not in that battle because of his injury, unfortunately. So you've got 5 riders covered by 3 points, and you can make a case for any one of them. I have a feeling in my mind about Patryk Dudek, who's probably in good form at the moment, getting himself back towards the Grand Prix as well with wildcard appearances. Just feel that Dudek might be the man to take that top 5 place, but you can make a case for all 5 of them, and Dudek's 1 point behind Janowski, so I'll take him to do it, but not with any great confidence.
But there's also Anders Thompson and Timo Lahti at 24 points, only 2 points behind Patryk Dudek.
You know, they're racing their race, huh? So they'll be looking at how many points they need, and if they got their right crew around them, they'll tell them every point that somebody's dropping, how close they are, and they'll just keep battling on.
We'll see about the top 5 after the meeting. David, let's remind everyone of the rules. What happens tonight if 2 or more riders are tied with the same number of points after 4 rounds of the TAURON SEC?
So if the overall scores are level for 1st place, 2nd place, 3rd place or 5th place, we would go to a runoff, rider against rider, to decide that place. If it's 4th place, they won't do a runoff. So to make the podium, if you're level or for that 5th final qualifying place, then we would go to a runoff. As I say, it's only happened, we've had a few runoffs for 5th place in the years gone by, but there's only ever happened once for the title itself, and that was right here 5 years ago.
With Mikkel Mikkelsen winning his first title.
When Laguta was the favourite, and then towards the end of the meeting he had a few mishaps and didn't make the final. Mikkelsen made the final and won the final to go level, and then even in the runoff, Laguta made the start, and then he made a mistake on the I think it was the 4th bend, and Mikkelsen came through on the inside, so it was quite a big finish.
That was his first out of 3 titles. I'm sure it's very sad for Mikkel Mikkelsen. We know that he's going to be here tonight at the stadium to watch somebody else take the crown for European Championship. I wouldn't say that he would be a favorite, but he lost a chance to win his 4th title. Yeah,
he was in front in Goose Road whenever he had a mechanical failure and lost the chain, and it put him down pretty fiercely on the track and injured him, and that shook him up, and I thought, wow, okay, I hope he recovers from that. And then in the Grand Prix, he had another big one, and that was enough to put him out on the sidelines now. So if he's here tonight to hand over the trophy, that would be kind of pretty heartbreaking.
Obviously, it's very sad that this injury of SEC has been struck with plenty of injuries, but we get to see other riders in the lineup, and it's Tom Brennan from Birmingham Brummies. What can you tell us about Tom?
Well, I tell you, he's a fighter, and he's come here with a lot of confidence. We met him in the airport because we flew in the same time he did, and he's ready for it. He's here going to have a go, and the uncertainty of riding on a man-made track is probably his biggest challenge, but you know, he's a fighter. He starts in the very first race on the outside, too. So, and that guy, I watched him all year. He's a trapper. So he just might get out in front and get going, and then who knows what he'll do with the rest of it.
Isn't he the best rider at your club, at Birmingham Brummies? Obviously, there's lingering with a higher average, but less meetings.
I just think that he's hungry. You know, he's had bad meetings, don't get me wrong. At the Birmingham Brummies, Tom's gone out there and couldn't win them all. But I tell you what, if he had a bad race, he definitely wants to make a good race in his next one. So that's his determination. So he's a real racer.
And he got experience already in Cardiff.
Yes, he was wild card at Cardiff after doing well in the British final. I think he's ready for this sort of event now. He's the next British rider. We saw Robert Lambert 5 or 6 years ago, and this series really helped him to elevate himself. You look at him now, second in the world, winning a Grand Prix, and this series was really important for Lambert. We saw Dan Bewley have a go too. We've seen Adam Ellis. Tom Brennan, I think, is the next one, and he is of that level now, doing more and more meetings in Europe, on the continent, and it would do him the world of good to have a good meeting here tonight and really target making a full-time place in the SEC next year.
There is a rider with a wildcard tonight, obviously, and it's Bartek Kowalski. He was born in Tarnów, which is not too close, but still in the south of Poland, and we already got to see him in Debrecen during round 1.
Yeah, I think again another probably fan favorite, you know, because he's not too far away where Tarnów is. But at the end of the day, he's a racer as well, trying to improve all the time. So this will be a really good place for him to go out there and showcase himself.
He's had some remarkable scores around his home track this season, hasn't he? That's been the issue, is the difference between home and away performances. So around Wrocław, very strong indeed. But on this, a complete leveler, so it'll be interesting.
But he managed to get a good score in SEC Challenge back in, I think it was May in Daugavpils.
Yes.
And recently he's making progress. And like you said, home meetings have never been an issue for Kowalski this season. But since he, I think, got his mechanics from Ty Wolfenden, he's getting better at it.
Well, then if he's got some experienced mechanics with him, that only gives him the confidence that when he needs to make a decision on the mechanical side of things, he's got some experts in the pits, and they can see from what he's doing. And as long as that team works together, then it definitely helps.
David, anything you'd like to add before we end our pre-show studio?
Well, just to say, first of all, what a great series it's been once again. We've seen some brilliant racing, some great finals along the way as well, and to be back here to finish it off is great, and may the best rider win. Will it be Lebedev's? They'll be going for it. Grand Prix place on the line, so great to be here. Hope everyone enjoys it.
Especially that I think Andrzej Lebedev's wouldn't be qualified for a wild card or has no chance of qualifying for SGP next season. So this
it's
is
his last chance, really, isn't it?
It's his last chance. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're wishing all the guys right. They're very focused, I can tell you, because I walked around. I actually walked the track backwards when they were walking the track one way. I was walking the other way, and I got to look at each and everybody's eyes, saying, "What do you think? What do you think?" And they're all focused, so they're ready. And I think Lebedev knows it's his to lose, so let him race for it.
Or maybe I'll put it in one other way. Do riders feel the pressure when they enter a stadium like this? Obviously, it's much bigger than what they're used to in their league meetings. Do they feel it? Do they see it? Or do they realize it after the meeting?
I think they have to absorb it. And they can't make any comments. If the comments have got to be positive, don't they? So I think whether they're scared, whether they're worried or whatever, at the end of the day, they got to come here and do the job.
Interesting. And Sam, one last question. Obviously, we mentioned a few names in the battle for the gold medal, obviously for the top 5. What about riders and their mindset before a meeting where they are in the 6th position, 10th position? Do they give 100% or not really?
Yeah, I think there's like Rasmussen is a perfect example of that. You know, he's a really good racer and he's a good trapper, and he'll go out there and want to showcase himself as well. I just think that it's a perfect place. You know, if we get this stadium full, you know, this is a perfect place to go out there and show what you can do.
Absolutely. Well, it's getting darker here in Chorzów.
It is,
and the stands are getting full at the moment. Still about an hour before we start the 4th and final round of TAURON Speedway European Championship. Like I said in the beginning, it's a night to remember for sure, regardless of who wins, especially with a commentary from David Will, Samer Molenko.
We'll be giving it
We'll
all.
do our best. We'll do our best.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was my pleasure to have you, Marcin Usual. I'll see you in the pits during the meeting. Obviously, if you watch our broadcast on speedwayeuro.com, that's where you can purchase pay-per-view. If you're watching us in Latvia, Romania, Poland, or a few other countries in Europe, make sure that you find the right channel and you can see it there. If not, then you can watch us anywhere in the world with English commentary on speedwayeuro.com. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and let's have some fun.
Sponsorem programu był TAURON, sprzedawca instalacji fotowoltaicznych.